The ACCC has just commenced federal court proceedings against Microsoft for issues related to its auto subscriptions of its Microsoft 365 personal and family subscriptions back in 2024. The ACCC is alleging that the Copilot feature, which Microsoft introduced at that time, was essentially shown to customers as almost a compulsory add-on. So when customers were renewing their subscriptions, they were essentially given two options: upgrade with the Copilot feature at a higher cost or cancel your subscription altogether.
Yeah, and the reason that the ACCC has commenced these proceedings is that there was a silent third option available, which is, I think, called their classic plan. So it's just the ongoing suite of Microsoft products, but without the Copilot add-on. And it's the ACCC's position that it was potentially misleading because consumers didn't know that they could retain their initial settings until they initiated that cancellation process. And it was just at that time that they were informed that they could just continue paying for their usual suite of products and they didn't have to opt to increase the price for the Copilot feature.
Microsoft's conduct raises some serious questions under the Australian Consumer Law. Section 29 of the Australian Consumer Law prohibits false or misleading representations about price, performance characteristics, or the availability of goods or services. So in a situation like this, it's not only what you say that can expose you to legal action, but it's also what you don't disclose. The courts have repeatedly indicated that they are prepared to enforce penalties for non-disclosure of key factors that will influence the way consumers will look at a product.
Yeah, I think a major issue in this proceeding in particular is the subscription product itself. When customers or consumers are subscribing to products, they usually operate within an auto renewal environment, and just simply inertia plays a massive role in influencing consumer behavior. So consumers aren't, looking at products every single billing cycle and reevaluating or assessing whether they want to keep opting for a product. So it's a fair expectation that they're provided with upfront and very clear information when they're in these auto renewal cycles so they can make an informed decision about what they're opting into or out of.
A key issue here is that consumers were presented with a binary choice. So the question here is whether a reasonable subscriber, and in this situation it was millions of subscribers, would have made a different decision had they been presented with a choice that was not binary. And if that third option, which was remaining on their existing plans, was available, would they have still chosen the higher price plan with the Copilot feature, or would they have chosen to stick with their current plans?
Because it's at the time of making that decision and opting into the new, increased Copilot offering. So it doesn't really matter that that was an option later on if they didn't want to do that. It's what was available at the time they're making that consumer decision, which is really relevant. And that's why we're here and we're looking at proceedings. I think this is just another example of the ACCC indicating what its priorities are moving forward and protecting consumer trust in these major corporations. Just the two of us have been talking about new regulatory updates and, pieces of legislation and new court proceedings commenced by ASIC. So it's clear that the regulator is taking a really strict stance and trying to clamp down these potentially misleading behaviours and try to restore some consumer confidence in the brands that we use each and every day.
A lot of subscribers who didn't select that option wouldn't have seen that third option. So the real key issue here is consumer trust, and the ACCC is really trying to restore consumer trust, that where you're given options, you can be reasonably expected to be given all the relevant information in order to make that informed decision.